Hey there, this is Robert Ketzel from Real Estate Professionals, and over here in the driver's seat is Mr. Rob Sipes.
Hey everybody.
And we're headed out to take a video of a Good Neighbor Next Door house. We thought this would actually be an interesting time to talk about the Good Neighbor Next Door program a little bit. So, Rob, what have we seen lately in Good Neighbor Next Door properties?
Well, we've had a mix of properties. We've had, some fixer-uppers, is what I would call them, come up, and we've had some really nice single-family homes for like 300 grand. So they're the Good Neighbor houses are kind of all over the place.
Yeah, so it seems to me like, when the good houses pop up, there's a lot of interest in them, but some of the, I guess, mid-range houses, we sometimes have a hard time finding people to want those properties. And I don't understand it, because one of the whole things about the Good Neighbor Next Door program is the financial opportunity. I think a lot of times we have too many people looking for their dream home, and this can be a stepping stone to a dream home, because we've had people that bought these homes, lived in them for the 36 months, and sold their property and walked away with possibly 100 grand or more tax-free. As a matter of fact, some of the latest people that we've worked with have literally had $100,000 in equity on day one when they moved into the property. So
some of these properties are move-in ready, and then some of them, might need $40,000, $50,000 worth of work. But the thing is what I try to tell folks is have a broader vision and don't discount those homes that need a lot of work, because a lot of times you can make the same money on those homes as you can the move-in readies with a lower mortgage payment. So in other words, instead of paying $1,400 a month on the move-in ready and making 75 grand, you can pay $800 a month on a fixer-upper and make 50, 75 grand.
Well, not only that, but you're also going to have a better opportunity to get that property.
Correct.
Because when the really hot properties come out, everybody wants them, and your odds of getting them are real low. Let's talk about, we recently had a person win a bid for the house in Elkton. And this was a property that was appraised for $301,000. And a lot of times people hear Elkton, they think bad things. But this was actually a single-family home that was like, built within the last 10 years. It was in a golf course community.
Correct.
4 bedrooms, 2-car garage.
2-story colonial.
Beautiful single-family home.
2,700 square feet.
So the half price of that would have been basically $150,000.
500, yep.
So this person, after financing all their closing and settlement costs and all the real estate fees involved, would have had over $100,000 in equity on day one.
Well over.
And what happened with that bidder?
Well, we went back through the house again and looked at it, and basically just felt that the house was too much. By the time you add in the utilities and everything like that, the
person didn't like the payment.
They didn't like the payment.
And one of the reasons why the payment was a little higher, and what was it supposed to be, $1,400 or $1,500?
I spilled my coffee.
He did. He spilled his coffee. So this is a non-edited video. This is the real deal.
This is the real thing here.
So the payment on that house is going to be about $1,400 or $1,500 a month, and I guess this teacher did not feel comfortable with that, and it's a shame, because this person literally had $110,000 in equity on day one.
Oh, easy.
And they needed no money to buy the house.
Yeah,
and I know the payment.
$100 down payment. Your closing cost gets rolled in. You get your deposit back when you settle. So this is basically what I call really not the Good Neighbor Next Door program, but the barely any money out of your pocket program.
Yeah. So, but I guess the point of it is that this person expected that their monthly payment was going to be maybe somewhere around $1,100.
Yeah.
And so it was $300 or $400 more. But there's always a possibility of getting like a roommate.
Well, you can bring in a boarder those first 3 years you're there.
Getting somebody else to help out with the mortgage payment. And as I said,
if I had an opportunity, excuse me, Rob, but if I had an opportunity to make $120,000 on a property, and I'm just using 120, I mean, good Lord, if I could make 50, I'd be finding a way to move into these homes, not finding a way not to, because it's 3 years of your life, and that's why the broader vision is so important, because this can be a life changer for people, and it may be one of those things where you may never have the opportunity again. And
here's let me interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
The thing that bothers me about this situation is that this person is in an area where properties only come up about once, maybe twice a year.
Maybe.
And when they do come up, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to be a nice house like this one.
And it doesn't guarantee they're going to win.
And it doesn't guarantee they're going to win. So this person literally had the opportunity, had $110,000, $120,000 in equity on day one, and basically walked away from it. And this person will never get another opportunity to buy a good neighbor next door house in the area that they have to buy in ever again.
I mean, I'm going to put it in perspective. You know, people look at the lottery, and when we had that lottery, a few months back, and people had a chance to win. What was it? What was it? $1 billion? I mean, this is almost like a property that rarely comes up. Plus, you have other bidders. My point is the fact that this person won this home
and let it go
is a chance of a lifetime, and probably will not have that same result happen again.
Live in it 3 years, sell the property, walk away with 100, 110, 120, tax-free, by the way.
Absolutely.
So paying no income taxes on that money, and then obviously, have some financial security, pay off the student loans, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I guess what we're trying to say here...
It would have been a life changer.
It would have been. What we're trying to say here is that there's a lot of opportunities in some of these properties that people look at and kind of go, not me. But sometimes they're properties that you can make money on. You only have to live in the property for 3 years, so it's not like it's an extensive commitment. And then you're able to sell the property and walk away with a lot of money. So I guess what we're trying to say is, go into the Good Neighbor Next Door program looking at the financial opportunity.
With an investor's mindset.
With an investor's mindset, not necessarily, I must have my dream home. Because 3 years goes by pretty quick.
And it will help you get your dream home. So a lot of times, look, we have folks who are, getting into some of these homes, these row homes, these maybe some row homes in the city, maybe Middle River, Essex, whatever. And they're going to make 50, 60 grand, but they're looking at it from an investor's point of view, and they're looking at it, hey, 3 years from now I've got
I'm going to be able to get what I really want.
Right. I can go buy that, that 3-bedroom or that 4-bedroom single family home that typically I wouldn't be able to do on my own. And here's another thing I want to bring up, Rob. How many people do you know, including us, are going to save $50,000 in 3 years?
Right.
Or how many people's 401ks or IRAs pay off 50 grand in 3 years? Not too many.
Well, and the sad part about it too is when people go buy a pretty house, like just, a regular sale, like that's fine. That's the way people do it. But the problem with that is that they have no equity in the property on day one. So you might go find a property for $250,000 and it's nice and pretty, but guess what? You paid every penny of what it's worth.
Yeah.
So there's rarely an opportunity where people go buy a pretty home and they pay $200, but it's really worth $250. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen because who would sell the property for less than what it's worth?
Correct.
Only HUD would do that.
Correct. And that's why this is what we call, we have an acronym for HUD. It really stands for Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, but we call it How Utterly Dumb.
Yeah, it's not really a good use of taxpayer funds, but it's not our call.
It's legal, and why not take advantage of a great opportunity like this, especially when it's a legal thing to do.
Well, and lastly, I guess the thing that people don't understand as well is that with all these homes, the ones that do need renovation, don't let the investors have all the fun. These investors are out there buying these flip projects.
Oh, yeah.
They're buying them cheap. They're putting money into it, and they're selling them for a profit. And then people are lined up to buy them. Well, why wouldn't you obviously buy the property for half price, borrow the money to renovate the property? You're going to boost the value and, still have that, 50, 75, 100 grand worth of equity, all dependent on the property when you do decide to sell, or you can stay there because obviously it's going to be a property that's been renovated and in good condition.
Right. And I also wanted to add, this is exactly what the government wants you to do. They're incentivizing you to go out here and do this and fix up a property. So it will draw investors. It will pick up neighborhoods.
They're giving teachers, police, firefighters, and paramedics a little bit of payback because sometimes they don't have the, they get decent paychecks sometimes, but they put a lot of effort into getting that paycheck.
Correct.
And a lot of service. Sometimes putting their lives on the line.
Correct. So it's just it's a great incentive. The government, they want you to do it. They don't have a problem with selling you a house for half off and then making all this money on it 3 years later. Right. So we're actually coming up to a house now. So
let's wrap it up.
We can wrap it up.
So to sum it up, when you look at these good neighbor next door houses, please think of the opportunity. Don't look at the house and go, it's not what I want, because we can make it what you want. We actually have contractors that are lined up that can do this work for a reasonable cost. All that cost can be rolled into the property. And I do hear people sometimes saying, well, but if I do that, aren't I eating away at the equity that I'm going to have? And we're like, no, because you're going to boost the value of the property even higher than it is today. So keep an eye on the good neighbor next door list. Look at the emails that we send out. Look for some different opportunities. And as I said, be a little bit flexible and be open to maybe considering a property that's less than what you think you might be interested in. So that's it. I hope you have a great day.
See you guys.